Okay, today I'm going to talk about A Farewell to Arms, and I don't have as much shade as I'm used to when I sit here and film these videos, because look what the wind did. That's half of my tree. This is a really tall, nice tree that I have above me, and on Saturday, about a quarter of it cracked off because of the wind, and then today, or last night actually, a third of the tree cracked off. So the lighting's a bit different. Also, this book that I bought, look at this. It's red here. This book must have been exposed to a lot of sunlight on a shelf for a very long time, because it is a fully different color on the edge. Okay, so A Farewell to Arms. I was actually really excited to read this book. I thought, oh, that's a cool title, A Farewell to Arms. That sounds interesting. I read the summary of it online. Soldier gets injured in World War I, falls in love with the nurse that takes care of him. I thought, wow, that sounds interesting too. Okay, let's give it a whirl. And it wasn't until I started reading it that I realized, oh, this is written by Ernest Hemingway. I remember reading Ernest Hemingway in high school and not enjoying his writing style. But also, high school was a long time ago, so I figured, the shade's no good. So I figured I'd give him another chance. You know, it's been a long time. Maybe I was just young and didn't get it. Well, I don't think that. I actually did not like his writing style at all. I felt like he had an interesting idea and the application was atrocious. I don't recommend this book at all. First of all, the main character's name is Fred. He's with the Italian army, although he's American, and we don't really get to know much about him at all. He volunteered. He is of Italian American descent. We don't even know what part of America he's from. You don't really get to know much about him. I actually wasn't sure that his name was Fred. Halfway through the book, they mentioned Fred one time, and I was thinking, is that the main character? And I had to Google it after I was done with the book, because throughout the book, he's constantly called Darling by Catherine, his nurse, and Baby by his fellow soldier. I don't know. Him and Catherine get together, okay? And they have the most immature relationship that I've ever read about. It's like the equivalent of passing notes in middle school, you know? Like, do you like me? Check yes, check no. Type of a maturity level in this relationship. When they first get together, he thinks that she's crazy. She won't let him kiss her, and she hits him when he tries to kiss her, and then she feels bad about it and says, all right, never mind, you can kiss me. Which, Matthew McConaughey, his father, said, if you ever read Green Lights, if what a girl is saying and the way that she's acting don't match up, just give it a pass. Just don't. There's a sad little hummingbird right now. You're not gonna be able to, oh yeah. Wait, can you see it? Right there. Sad little hummingbird thinking, why is my tree on the ground instead of where it's supposed to be? I am bummed out about the tree. So he doesn't know what Matthew McConaughey's dad taught him, because he just was like, oh, finally she said yes. He kisses her anyways, and then goes away thinking, man, that lady was crazy, but whatever. At least I got to make out with someone. And then whenever he sees her again, she's like, you're in love with me, right? And he's like, yep. And we know as the reader that he is lying, but he just says it because that's what she wants to hear. And then he gets injured, Once he's injured, then he suddenly realizes, oh, you know what? I actually am in love with that girl. Yes, I thought that she was crazy and I was just taking advantage of her. But now that I'm down and out, she's looking much better. And he falls in love with her. And the consistency of their conversations, which we're exposed to a lot of in the book, but it's all just, oh, I love you. I love you. You're so good to me. You're good to me. There's no depth to it. And they don't really get to know each other very well. It's essentially just them going back and forth saying how much they love each other and then them banging. He's always like, come to bed, come to bed, come to bed. And she does do that, and she does get pregnant. I'm telling you spoilers, okay? So, the book is from like 19 something early on, so spoilers. She does go to bed with him. She gets pregnant. They run away together. She dies in labor, and the baby is stillborn. And that part's that's incredibly sad, and that's the end. Also, when he meets his son, he sees the baby for a second, doesn't even realize the baby's dead, and he's like, I had no feelings whatsoever towards this baby. No fatherly connection at all. Which I thought was odd. His entire character is extremely unlikable the whole time. He just lies, and he doesn't really do anything good for anybody. The most reasonable character is Ferguson, who is a nurse with Catherine, this Scottish lady who is literally crying that Catherine ended up with this guy and is like, you are such a snake. I'm so sad for her that she's with you. So after this, I had read that it was like loosely based on Hemingway's life. So I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? It is true that he himself was an ambulance driver in World War I, and he did get injured, and he did fall in love with his nurse, whose name was Agnes. So I'm thinking, did Agnes die? And did they have a child together, or the child passed away? Well, guess what? That's not how it ended with Agnes. It ended when Agnes dumped Ernest Hemingway because she was going to go and marry an Italian soldier instead of him. So, in retrospect, I think the whole point of this book is this kind of twisted, butthurt revenge of how he wishes that his relationship with Agnes had gone. He fell in love with his nurse. She dumped him in real life. And so in his imagination, it's like, let me come up with a story that's almost exactly like our relationship, but instead, she is obsessed with me. Can't get enough of me. I don't really care about her that much. I'm like a little above it. And she would never dare leave me. Instead, we run away together, but unfortunately we didn't end up together, of course, but that's just because she happened to die, birthing my child, who also died, who I felt no fatherly connection to, because again, I am above it. They're obsessed with me. I don't care about them. And I think that it's embarrassing. And I think that maybe it was like a little fantasy that should have stayed in his imagination. And he doesn't come out of the story looking good. I don't know, like, if he felt like he was the hero of the story or the victor of the story. I'm just looking at my notes here. Oh yeah, I would love, okay, if Agnes read this book, I would love to hear her review of it. Because I can only imagine that she's sitting here like, oh, I was obsessed with him. Yeah, he wishes. Oh my goodness.